A lot of times people like to try to save on materials. So when it comes to cutting back the old plasterboard, they like to cut it a little bit here. So they might cut this whole piece off, but then have a little joint here to save on this part, so then they don't have to get a longer piece and use a little piece. It's very funny because even the builder who's experienced in construction done the same thing when I first came to look at the jobs I can quote it for him. So what he did was he cut everything nicely, left this section, the plasterboard was still here, and then he cut in the middle of the stud to save a little bit of materials. So that means I would have had a joint here and the joint there. And the first thing I told him was that he had to cut that off, cut it straight through. Two main reasons, if you cut it right here, not only do I have to tape this, but the wall is already wavy and ugly and not straight and horrible that I can never tape this nice and flat. Considering the fact that the shower finishes right here, tiles finishes right there, this has to be a level 4 finish, sand, right? I could never make that look gorgeous, right? Because it's an old ass building. It's never gonna work. So it's much better to cut it all the way to the end. Another reason is, if he cuts it all the way to the end, not only do I just have the joint at the top, the joint on the bottom, I don't have this joint here, but I don't have to necessarily tape this corner here because the door, the trimming is gonna cover that. So this internal doesn't get taped. And we try to avoid joint. That's the third one, right? A joint is a weak point and the joint is gonna crack, and anything that crack is bad for business. Now, we try to make things not crack, but eventually some things will crack. You know what I'm saying? All right, you try to avoid as many joints as you can. This little piece of plaster here is probably like, I don't know, maybe $1, right? So you're not necessarily saving on anything. You probably already spent, I don't know, 20 grand getting to this step anyways. Also, one more thing too. This is not really part of the video, but he wanted to cut this plasterboard somewhere here because he's gonna do some fancy stuff on this wall here. He's gonna put a little box here, and I was gonna patch that. I said the better, fastest, easiest way, cheapest way is to just cut this whole piece of plaster off. But he changed his mind, so he's not gonna cut this, not because of that reason, but because it turns out he didn't need to cut it. That would have been the best way to cut it, is to go all the way back into the internal, pushing that back. It's easier to finish that internal than it is to finish a joint. Considering we got a window right here that could cause problem with the light. I'm sure if you've watched my tutorials, you know how bad lighting can be when it comes to drywalling.